Hi, I'm here from the ball fields. It's a weekend of my son's all-star game today here in Orlando, and then I get in a car right afterwards. I travel 4 hours up to Moultrie, Georgia to watch my daughter attempt to qualify for the national championships in diving at The Ohio State University here in about another month. I'm very thankful for the ability to have the time, and that's the idea of the 100 millionaire mindset, is creating not just the money, but the time. Often money and the way you run your life creates time. You know, on the 100 millionaire mindset, on the last Facebook Live we talked about scalability and the ability to start something, to create a company that has no ceiling, no limits. And today we're going to talk about 7 streams of income. You know, one thing that rich people all have, and I've done the investigation and looked at the facts, they have at least 7 streams of income. These are multiple things producing income in their lives. We're going to talk about what that means and how to produce it, and what are some of the steps to make it safe and effective. Now, when we talk about these 7 streams of income, there's a couple things to consider. One is your core way you create income. So this is your work. If you're a doctor, you're doctoring. If you are a lawyer, you're lawyering. If you are somebody who's a landscaper, then you're working on yards. If you're in the secretarial pool or a programmer, that's your core business. Now, here's what you might miss if we are sort of missing the 100 millionaire mindset. I want to just a quick shout out to my niece, Austin. She's watching. Hey, Austin. Glad you're watching at just toddler age to become a 100 millionaire. The idea of that core business is not just to say, this is what I have to do forever to make as much as I can so that I have something to do with this money, that I could become ready to retire, I could become rich, just doing this core thing. Because if that's all you do, then again, we're not trading our money for time. There's always a lot of time invested. I always say you'll work until you die unless you find a way to make money while you sleep. So that core part's important. It might be your calling, what you love, what you're passionate about, but that's supposed to create income for the other 6 streams or more. A lot of very wealthy people have 9, 10, 11 streams. I have 9 businesses I own and lots of ways that we make money. And so the core is supposed to make money for the other streams. So as we get into the other types of streams, it doesn't mean that you're not going to work. So for example, I like real estate. I particularly like commercial real estate. And so I have 2 industrial properties in Volusia County, Florida. So this week, even those are passive forms of income, I bring in just from those 2 properties alone, there's more money than, say, a Delta pilot makes coming in per month passively. But it doesn't mean there isn't work. Again, I use the core money I make to buy those and get set up in those particular 2 industrial properties, but there's work. So one day I had to go up there, about an hour and a half away, and for one of them we created another building within the property, and I had to go get an actual address. I had to go work with the city of Daytona, and we had to make another address for it, because we can rent that out for about another $12,000 to $15,000 a year. In my other property that's in Edgewater, I had to meet with the Edgewater Economic Development Team, work with their 5 or 6 people there to determine what can be done with the property so we can maximize this residual income that's coming off of it and build something great for the people of Edgewater. And so there was work. It was those amounted to an entire day of work, but other than that, it's passive income coming in. So when we talk about these 7 streams, even though there's the core and the other pieces that we think, it's just money's gonna roll in, first of all, there's work. The second part is I want you to be risk averse. Risk averse. I've got many friends and I've got clients that went broke in their 40s and 50s getting into multiple streams of income and real estate. I always say the most fascinating part of real estate to me as I'm going through the process is looking at the fact that there's such a great chance to lose all my money. It's so easy to go broke doing this wrong. So how can we be risk averse? So let's use real estate for an example. So before I decided what I would finally pay for those properties that I have, just the 2 I just mentioned, the 2 real estate properties in Volusia, it amounts to about 50,000 a square foot of building. I met with engineers. I met with the city to make sure that there were no issues in creating what I wanted to do with it. I want it to be versatile, so there are a lot of opportunities for renters. We got up on the roof. We got the inspections. We got the surveys. We looked at all the possibilities for the property and what the income potential was, and measured that against what the costs were. So I ended up paying for one. I paid 1/3 what they were asking, and for another one, I paid only 60% of what they were asking. And in both cases, that was required in order to know this was a good investment that was going to be able not only make good money, make good profit along the way, also something that would definitely grow in value, so that I can, in the end, sell it for much more than I paid for it. Versus I was offered an opportunity, I want to call opportunity, yesterday to purchase and build a piece of property, build it out, where I said, it might make some money, there might be a little cap rate going while it's in operation, but there's no money in the back end. This thing's too tight, I could end up losing here. All it would take would be a little bit of time without a renter in there, and it would just be a big loss. Through the process of, as I mentioned, all that due diligence with all those different people before deciding to buy it, I ended up lowering the amount I was willing to pay and getting them to lower that amount, and also understanding the cash involved. A lot of people go broke because they don't realize you're going to have to fix that roof. There's AC things, there's electrical things. You're going to have to put a coat of paint on that thing, and realizing there's money in the end that you've got to have in your pocket. So those buildings are going to take some money to get them up and running and rented. So when you go into these things, it's a great way to lose money to get into real estate. But if you actually do your due diligence, you can become risk averse, make sure it's totally profitable. In fact, I literally can't lose on the 2 properties I was just telling you about. The other piece in terms of multiple streams of income would be being involved, either owning 100% yourself or owning parts of other businesses. So I've got businesses that I've acquired 100% of. I've got ones that it's 10% or 51% if I want to have control and run it. And regardless of what that is, again, risk averse. Many people will get into these businesses and just lose their money. And they're throwing money around everywhere. And again, that's how I can rattle off right now at least a dozen friends of mine that are broke. And there's nothing worse than being broke. I was talking to a client the other day. You're broke in your 50s. You don't want to get that deep into the game. You got kids in college. You're thinking about slowing down soon. You want to enjoy the latter reign of your life, and you're broke. And that happens a lot. For you young people, it happens a lot. I know you don't think it's going to be you, but it will be you if you don't understand the idea of being risk averse when getting into your multiple streams of income. So, for example, with these companies I acquire or invest in, I have 2 types of due diligence periods I go through. For an investment, I'll usually start off with a loan that is at a high interest rate, so it's worth pulling my little soldiers, as Kevin from Shark Tank calls them, out of the bank and giving it to you. And I want to get that cash back first plus interest. If I see that the business is working out, and of course you personally and through the company have guaranteed my loan, and again, risk averse. And then if I see that it's working out, we'll move into the other component of it, which is the actual investment in my taking some amount of the shares of the company. I also have acquired companies for no money down. It's somebody who recognizes that being part of something big is better. It's better to own 10% of something giant than 100% of something smaller not making money. So I say, let me show you what I can do. I'm going to take over or help you. I'm not going to put any money in, but as we make it work, I want to acquire, in the case of me actually being the one running it, 51% or more, maybe even 100%. But it's going to be based on success, because we'll go through a phased process. If we're successful with phase 1, successful with phase 2, there's a time I now commit. If we're not able to make it work, then I'm able to walk away with either just that loan I gave that they have to pay back that they've guaranteed, or I'm able to walk away completely where I haven't put any money in. Again, I risk nothing. So be afraid. Be very afraid. Be risk averse, because I want you to be using the idea of making money to create a better life and to have more time. Remember, it's not just about the money. Now, I want you to have money because I want you to have influence. If you're part of a mission-based business, I want you to be saving lives, changing lives, making people's lives better, and making the world a better place a safer, sane place for decent people to live. I want you on that mission with me, and that's why I want you making lots of money and having influence. But it's not about the money, it's about the money giving you time. Remember, money does come and go, and for some people, money generally just says bye-bye. But time, once spent, is gone. And I want you to be able to spend as much time with God, your family, and doing the things that you love. And that's our job here at Achiever 7. I hope you follow up with us. You can go to zerotoamillion.com. You can go to drbenlerner.com. You'll see webinars, all kinds of things that we're going to do for you guys to teach you these 7 streams of income so that you can be free and have choices for your life and an amazing future. Bless you in your mission-based business, and remember who you are.